1 million YouTube views later, and you folks still want to hear more about this story, how an armed Lyft driver survived the carjacking attempt. This is part 2. Scott Jaworowski is with us again, and we want to answer your questions. He's joined with his attorney, Amy. Amy is here to make sure that we don't do anything wrong. She's the peacekeeper in all of this. First, a quick reminder, we have a gun giveaway going on right now, and you can enter for free, but it ends really soon. Just click on the link down below in the description, and you can reveal which brand new gun you could win. All right, Scott, so recap the story quickly. You were picking up a couple of guys for a Lyft, working for Lyft. They booked you, jumped in the back seat, pressed something against your head, and then I'm even going to say it because we're on YouTube. Then all hell breaks loose, and you end up running them off. No shots fired, but as an armed citizen, you stopped this attempt to rob you. And people want to know how things are going. How is it after this?
Things are going all right. I've had a few passengers in the last couple of weeks, months, that have recognized me from the videos that have run from USCCA. Otherwise, things are pretty much as normal.
Mm-hmm. Any fallout from Lyft? Any disciplinary action? Anything like that?
Initially, after the very first video ran, Lyft had contacted me and said they were going to suspend my account while they investigated the incident. Mm-hmm. And within 3 days, they had reactivated my account, and I was back driving on the platform again.
All right, so nothing we did caused you to lose your job.
No, absolutely not.
All right, well, that's outstanding. How about the bad guys? Any the cops catch them?
My understanding is that they have not caught anybody yet. They have some people of interest, but they don't necessarily have anything solid on them.
Okay, so, and then just, you said things were going well, and I'm going to ask, following up on the incident, have you made any major changes in what you're doing, how you're carrying, how you look at people when they jump in a car?
I've made some changes in the types of pickups that I'll go ahead and do. Mm-hmm. Used to be that I would just go ahead and pick up anybody, anywhere. And now I'm kind of giving a little more scrutiny towards the actual ride requests that I go ahead and pick up. If it's an obviously fake name, sorry, find a different rider or driver. Mm-hmm. If it's a person who's really, really low rated within the app, again, probably your best bet is to go ahead and find a different driver who will go ahead and pick you up. Other than that, it's still, I'm a little more aware of my surroundings, where I'm picking up and that, but that hasn't affected with any great degree the, who I pick up and where I pick them up. It's more about the actual alleged passenger. Mm-hmm.
I want to talk a little bit about your interaction with the police following the event. Sure. I know that initially when we talked, you said you had driven away to a different location, got a hold of the police, and how did that all go? And maybe Amy can answer a couple of questions on this one. At this point, you pulled out your gun, you didn't fire a shot, but you still have your attorney with you whenever we're talking to you about this incident. So first, let's talk about what happened with the cops and how that's all gone in the interim from now till then. Have they gotten back with you or anything like that?
They've reached out to me a couple of times to just try and clarify some more information and to kind of keep me up to date in terms of the actual investigation.
Okay. When you say clarify more information, does it seem like they're still doing a report or what's happening?
In the initial days right after, there was still some of the report writing that they were trying to do at that point in time. Wanting to see if I had any screenshots, for example, of the Lyft request for the passengers. So that was just those types of things that they went back after the fact on.
Well, it's good to see that it seems like they're investigating and looking for the bad guys. So, and now again, in retrospect, as you're looking back now, you've got several months under your belt. In the moments following the incident, do you think you did everything correctly, to the best of your ability, the best of your knowledge at the time, leaving the scene, getting someplace safe, calling the police, and then speaking to the police?
I do. I still feel that given the circumstances, the way I did things was probably in the best interests for myself.
Yeah, and that was, you immediately left the scene. And how far away did you go?
It was maybe a half mile.
Okay.
at most.
And why did you go there? Why
Just because it was on a main street. It was on, Brown Deer Road, so it's a more heavily lit area, more well-traveled, so i.e. a safer location.
How was your interaction with the dispatcher? What was that like?
Fairly straightforward. They just took my information, when I told them what happened, where I was going, what kind of vehicle I was driving, and where I was going to be stopped at, and then that was about the extent of it. Once I got to the gas station, she checked to make sure that I was in a safe location, and then hung up.
Okay, and then first responding officer, how did that go? Because obviously this cop's showing up to a guy who just said he pulled a gun and pointed at another person. How did that go?
Yeah, absolutely. The first officer to arrive on the scene came up, approached me. I got out of my car and stood there and waited for him to approach me. And we talked just about verifying who I was and the situation. He verified that I did have my firearms with me, and asked that I present them to him so that way he could just put them in the back of his squad car for safekeeping purposes until the investigation was over.
Was he, did he jot down serial numbers or anything like that? Did he run your guns to see if they had been listed stolen or anything of that nature?
I don't know. I would assume that he did. I was not there watching that part of it. He did take my driver's license and my CCW just to verify that everything was legal.
All right. And Amy, I'm going to put this maybe over to you here. He's the victim of the crime. And why does he need an attorney? What could possibly go wrong with this? He did the right thing, and he called the cops.
Sure. Well, anytime you're talking about a potential self-defense situation and a potential use of force situation, there is the risk that you have the other party saying, no, actually, that's not how this happened. He called the police and he let them know this is what happened, but for all we know, the people that tried to rob him could have called and said, this guy just pulled a gun on us. You need to go and arrest him. And now the police are left in the situation of trying to figure out who's telling the truth and why. So having an attorney is certainly useful so that we can make sure that Scott is answering questions to the police in a way that relays the information to them and doesn't cause them to start questioning his story. Making sure that he is providing truthful information, accurate information, so that he's not accidentally saying something incorrect and having to then go back and backtrack, which now potentially makes him look like he's making something up or was telling a lie, something like that, even though that's obviously not what's happening here.
Okay. And Scott, at what point did you say to yourself, maybe I should get an attorney?
It was pretty much after the incident was over, and then I contacted USCCA and filed an incident report.
Okay, just as sort of, I guess, as a matter of course, hey, I've been involved in a deadly force incident. I'm a USCCA member. Now it's time for me to call and
Yep, absolutely.
And not to toot our own horn or anything like that. How did that go?
It went really well. The person who took my call went ahead, took down all the information, got everything done, gave me the case number for it, and just said, if you need to, here's the information. If you need to call back at any point in time to update us with anything, here's what you got to do.
So now you said that you're paying a little bit more attention to the folks who you might pick up or where the ride calls are coming from and obviously fake name and things like that. Have you been involved or in contact with the folks at Lyft about, hey, fake names or how do we know who's getting in my car? That seems like it'd be something that spinning out of this, that might be something they want to look at.
It absolutely would. I know I'm not the only driver that's run into problems with fake passengers and passengers who have bad intentions. So the Lyft does a great job of selling passenger safety. What they don't do a great job of is actually deploying driver safety. As a driver, I'm required to have my photo in the ID in the app. I'm required to have my real name in the app. They have all of my information. Passengers really don't have to go through any of those hoops. They have a phone, they have a credit card or prepaid debit card, and that's it. So they can put in whatever name they want. I've had ride requests for Spider-Man, and they were on the platform for 4+ years, and they had multiple rides, and they were rated really high. but I don't think it's really Peter Parker out there
who's,
requesting a ride.
And I think, maybe it's well, not being an IT guy, maybe it's an easy fix to have people take a picture of their driver's license or something like that, some other ID that's going to pop up and be attached to their account. From a personal safety standpoint, and are you doing anything different with where you're keeping your gun or how you're carrying it, or do you have a backup weapon or anything like that? You don't want to give away too much of your personal safety
Correct.
plan.
I have made some evaluations in what I do, where I carry, how I carry, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay, so evaluations, that's good. The idea of a personal protection plan is something that we always advocate. How are you feeling personally about this? No after effects, no, you're not dealing with any PTSD or anything like that?
No, quite honestly, it really hasn't affected anything at all with either myself personally or my family. They just seem to kind of roll along with it like it was nothing, because in reality, the end result really was, that nothing bad happened.
Yeah,
So,
it worked out for the best.
correct.
So let's talk a little bit about media interaction after this, okay? You were all over the local news in the Milwaukee area, obviously because there was video of the incident, and that's why it gets on the news like that. Following this, and now 1 million views on YouTube or anything like that, are you getting any blowback from anybody, or is it mostly, hey, good job, you put the bad guys on the run?
99% of the feedback that has been either on the YouTube video for the people posting on there has been praise. It's been, hey, you did a great job, you handled it really well. There's always a few yahoos who are out there, the keyboard warrior types and whatnot, who are going to, I would have done this, I would have, unloaded 2 magazines into them, blah, 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 blah. So you have to kind of take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
It's like scoring in the Olympics. You throw out the high score and you throw out the low score to come to what's really the value there. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if we talked about this last time. What is your favorite carry gun? What gun ammo combination are you currently carrying? I saw that Amy start to shrug a little bit. I don't know if that's okay.
No, you're all right.
All right.
I currently carry a Smith & Wesson MP40.
Okay. Any particular reason you chose 40 over 9 or 45?
Availability of ammunition. At the time I bought the gun, 9 and 45 were pretty scarce. And there was a lot of 40 on the shelves. And it seemed to be a good fit at the time as well, the size of the gun in my hands and whatnot.
Yeah, there's a very serious argument for the practicality of what we're doing out there. Is the ammo easy to get? And at the time, that's what was out there.
Yep.
And I know a lot of law enforcement agencies are now going back to 9mm, and 40 is not getting as popular, so we see it appearing on the shelves more often than not. Scott, now that you are like an experienced crime victim, so we'll put it that way, what have you done differently, if anything, with your family, talking to your kids, things like that, to make sure that folks know what to do in the event of an emergency, that the people in your family know that, hey, we have a plan and we need to follow this plan?
So the biggest takeaway from this for my family has been more of a educational, be aware of your surroundings, trust your gut. If it doesn't look right, it isn't. Mm-hmm. So follow your gut on that. In terms of firearms and things, I've always taken my children out to the range, my wife out to the range, and they've gotten experience shooting everything I own that they can handle at that point in time. Mm-hmm. So, that includes the rifles, the shotguns, those types of things. It's important to me, the firearms are in the house, the kids are in the house. It's important that they know how they can use them, where they are, how to access them when needed.
Mm-hmm. And as somebody who kind of, for better or for worse, now has a little bit of a platform, people know who you are, millions of people have seen your story and taken a look at it. There's millions of new gun owners out there right now, and people who have just bought a gun for the first time, and they're going to use it in self-defense. And we watched your video, and for me, looking at your video, with the totality of the circumstances, I'm going to say that you probably had a legal right to use deadly force. You chose not to. You ended the threat without using any force like that. What would you say to all the new gun owners out there about training or education or just the thought of defending themselves with a firearm?
For any of the new gun owners out there, I would definitely recommend training, getting familiar with the firearm, learning how to use it properly, and taking some type of defensive shooting course where you can go ahead and learn the proper way to approach a defensive shooting situation. So that way the more you practice, the less your skills deteriorate.
And another thing just popped into my head as we were talking about this. Lots of stuff had to be going through your head as you accessed your firearm and brought it to bear and pointed it. At what point did you decide, I'm not going to shoot this guy?
It was at the point that they turned and ran in each of those instances. As soon as they put their back towards me, it was, okay, this person is leaving the scene at that point in time. I'm going to keep an eye on them to assess whether or not I do need to do anything. But at that point in time, their threat level to me has dropped significantly.
And Kevin, I think that's a really important part of all of this that Scott isn't saying, but he's saying, which is understanding the way the law works, right? You have the right to defend yourself, but at some point that right does end. And when does that end? And how do you make that determination? And are you able to assess that in that moment? These are all additional aspects of firearm ownership that I think people really need to be focused on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you say assess it in that moment. I say assess it in that half second,
right?
Where you're pointing the gun at someone who you just thought was pointing a gun at you, and you decided, wait a minute, okay, you gave him an extra half second, and he chose to turn and run. And in that point, I could imagine there will be lots of commenters who are saying, yeah, but. You're the one who went through it. You're the one who lived through it. You're the one who is now sitting here with your attorney at your side saying, yep, I did everything right. And the end result is shooting is the last resort.
Right.
Absolutely. Anything else that you would like to add? Anything that you think I've missed that we should be talking about for this story?
I'd love to apologize for referring to them as gentlemen as many times as I did in the last video. Scumbags, assholes, you thugs, whatever you want to call them. Okay? I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're not the good guys. We don't have to call them gentlemen.
Upbringing. Blame my parents.
No, fully understandable. Thank you very much for being here, Scott. I truly appreciate it. And Amy, thank you for your insights. Truly helpful to have someone knowledgeable on the legal side of this talking to us about it. Maybe we'll get to talk to you again. Who knows? I find this story fascinating. I love the way that it all played out. I love what's happening about it. So thank you for being here.
Thank you,
and
Kevin.
I truly appreciate it. So, folks, thank you, too, for watching all the way to the end of this video. And a quick reminder again, we have that gun giveaway going on. It ends really soon. All you have to do is click the link below to reveal which brand new gun you can win. I'm Kevin Michalowski, Director of Content for the U.S. Concealed Carry Association. And if you want to see more videos like this, please like this video and subscribe to this channel, because YouTube is actively suppressing firearms videos, and we need your help to defeat the algorithm. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.